Hi, my name is Bonnie Balduff, and I'm with the Pontiac Public Library. And it's time for Tell Me a Story. And what we've been doing is what we have been reading is about this Dinosaurs Before Dark. It's a magic treehouse story. And what's happened up until this point is that two children have gone up to, I saw a tree house, they climbed up to the tree house, and then all of a sudden they find that they're back in time and they're seeing dinosaurs. And so now, and they've met, Jack and Annie have met two vegetarian dinosaurs who've been very friendly, and Annie has patted them and talked to them, but now they've come across a meat-eating dinosaur. So let's find out what this Tyrannosaurus Rex is going to do. Run, Annie, run, cried Jack, to the treehouse. They dashed down the hill together, through the tall grass, through the ferns, past the pteranodon, right to the rope ladder. They scrambled up. Seconds later, they tumbled into the treehouse. Annie leaped to the window. He's going away, she said, panting. Jack pushed his glasses into place. He looked through the window with her. The Tyrannosaurus was wandering off, but then the monster stopped and turned around. Duck, said Jack. The two of them hunched down. After a long moment, they raised their heads. They peeked out together. Coast clear, said Jack. Hey, whispered Annie. We have to get out of here, said Jack. You made a wish before, said Annie. I wish we could go back to Frog Creek, she said, Jack. Nothing happened. I wished. Wait. You were looking at a picture in the dinosaur book, remember? Dinosaur book. Jack groaned. Oh no, I left the book and my pack on the hill. I have to go back. Oh, forget it, said Annie. I can't, said Jack. The book doesn't belong to us. Plus, my notebook's in my pack with all my notes. Hurry, said Annie. Jack hurried down the rope ladder. He leaped to the ground. He raced past the pteranodon, through the ferns, through the tall grass, and up the hill. He looked down. There was his pack lying on the ground. On top of it was the dinosaur book. But now the valley below was filled with anatosauruses, all standing guard around the nests. Where had they been? Did the fear of Tyrannosaurus send them home? Jack took a deep breath. Ready, set, go! He charged down the hill. He leaped to his backpack. He scooped it up. He grabbed the dinosaur book. A terrible tuba sound. Oh, another. Oh, another. All the anosauruses were bellowing at him. Jack took off. He raced up to the hilltop. He started down the hill. He stopped. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was back, and he was standing between Jack and the treehouse. 8. A giant shadow. Jack jumped behind the magnolia tree. His heart was boom, 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 beating so fast, he could hardly think. He peeked out at the giant monster. The horrible-looking creature was opening and closing its huge jaws. His teeth were as big as steak knives. Don't panic. Think. Jack peered down at the valley. Good. The duck-billed dinosaurs were sticking close to their necks. Jack looked back at the Tyrannosaurus. Good. The monster still didn't seem to know he was there. Don't panic. Think, think. Maybe there's information in the book. Jack opened the dinosaur book. He found Tyrannosaurus Rex. He read, Tyrannosaurus Rex was the largest meat-eating land animal of all time. If it were alive today, it would eat a human in one bite. Great. The book was no help at all. Okay. He couldn't hide on the other side of the hill. Anosauruses might stampede. Okay. He couldn't run to the treehouse. The Tyrannosaurus might run faster. Okay. Maybe he should just wait. Wait for the monster to leave. Jack peeked around the tree. The Tyrannosaurus had wandered closer to the hill. Something caught Jack's eye. Annie was coming down the rope ladder. Was she nuts? What was she doing? Jack watched Annie hop off the ladder. She went straight to the Pteranodon. She was talking to him. She was flapping her arms. She pointed at Jack, at the sky, at the treehouse. She was nuts. Go back up the tree, Jack whispered. Go. Suddenly, Jack heard a roar. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was looking in his direction. Jack hit the ground. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was coming toward the hill. Jack felt the ground shaking. Should he run? Crawl back into Dinosaur Valley? Climb the magnolia tree? Just then, a giant shadow covered Jack. He looked up. The Pteranodon was gliding overhead. The giant creature sailed down toward the top of the hill. He was coming straight for Jack. Chapter 9, The Amazing Ride. The Pteranodon coasted down to the ground. He stared at Jack with his bright, alert eyes. What was Jack supposed to do? Climb on? But I'm too heavy, thought Jack. Don't think, just do it. Jack looked at the Tyrannosaurus. He was starting up the hill. His giant teeth were flashing in the sunlight. Okay, don't think about it, just do it. Jack put his book in his pack, then he eased down onto the Pteranodon's back. He held on tightly. The creature moved forward. He spread out his wings and lifted off the ground. Teetered this way, then that. Jack nearly fell off. The Pteranodon steadied himself, then rose into the sky. Jack looked down. The Tyrannosaurus was chomping the air, staring at him. The Pteranodon glided away. He sailed above the hilltop. He circled over the valley, over the nests filled with babies, over the giant duck-billed dinosaurs. Then the Pteranodon soared out over the plain, over the Triceratops, who was grazing in the high grass. It was amazing. It was a miracle. Jack felt like a bird, as light as a feather. The wind was rushing through his hair. The air smelled sweet and fresh. He whooped. He laughed. Jack couldn't believe it. He was riding on the back of an ancient flying reptile. The Pteranodon sailed over the stream, over the ferns and bushes. Then he carried Jack down to the base of the oak tree. When they came to a stop, Jack slid off the creature's back and landed on the ground. Then the Pteranodon took off again and glided into the sky. Bye, Henry, whispered Jack. Are you okay? Ian shouted from the treehouse. Jack pushed his glasses into place. He kept staring up at the pteranodon. Jack, are you okay? Annie called. Jack looked up at Annie. He smiled. Thanks for saving my life, he said. That was really fun. Climb up, said Annie. Jack tried to stand. His legs were wobbly. He felt a bit dizzy. Hurry, shouted Annie. He's coming! Jack looked around. Tyrannosaurus was heading straight toward him. Jack bolted to the ladder. He grabbed the sides and started up. Hurry, hurry! Screamed Annie. Jack scrambled into the treehouse. He's coming toward the tree, Annie cried. Suddenly, something slammed against the oak tree. The treehouse shook like a leaf. Jack and Annie tumbled into the books. Make a wish, cried Annie. We need the book, the one with the picture of Frog Creek, said Jack. Where is it? He pushed some books aside. He had to find that book about Pennsylvania. There it was. He grabbed it, tore through it, looking for the photograph of Frog Creek woods. He found it. Jack pointed to the picture. I wish we could go home, he shouted. The wind began to moan, softly at first. And hurry, Jack yelled. The wind picked up. It was whistling. The wind house started to spin. It went faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. Jack closed his eyes. He held on tightly to Annie. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. Chapter 10. Home Before Dark. A bird began to sing. Tweet, 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 tweet. Jack opened his eyes. He was still pointing at the picture of the Frog Creek woods. He peeked out the treehouse window. Outside, he saw the exact same view. We're home, whispered Annie. The woods were lit with a golden late afternoon light. The sun was about to set. No time had passed since they'd left. Jack! Annie! A voice called from the distance. That's Mom, said Annie, pointing. Jack saw their mother far away. She was standing in front of their house. She looked very tiny. Annie! Jack! She called. Annie stuck her head out the window and shouted, Coming! Jack still felt dazed. He just stared at Annie. What happened to us? He said. We took a trip in a magic treehouse, said Annie simply. But it's the same time as when we left, said Jack. Annie shrugged. And how did it take us so far away, said Jack, and so long ago? You just looked at a book and said you wished we could go there, said Annie, and the magic treehouse took us there. But how? Said Jack. And who built this magic treehouse? Who put all these books here? A magic person, I guess, said Annie. A magic person? Oh, look, said Jack. I almost forgot about this. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the gold medallion. Someone lost this back there in Dinosaur Land. Look, there's a letter, N on it. Annie's eyes got round. You think M stands for magic person? She said. I don't know, said Jack. I just know someone went to that place before us. Jack! Annie! Came the distant cry again. Annie poked her head out the window. Coming! She shouted. Jack put the gold medallion back in his pocket. He pulled the dinosaur back out of his pack and put it back with all the other books. Then he and Annie took one last look around the treehouse. Goodbye, house, whispered Annie. Jack slung his backpack over his shoulder. He pointed at the ladder. Annie started down. Jack followed. Seconds later, they hopped onto the ground and started walking out of the woods. No one's ever going to believe our story, said Jack. So let's not tell anyone, said Annie. Dad won't believe it, said Jack. He'll say it was a dream, said Annie. Mom won't believe it, said Jack. She'll say it was pretend. My teacher won't believe it, said Jack. She'll say you're nuts, said Annie. We better not tell anybody, said Jack. I already said that, said Annie. Jack sighed. I think I'm starting to not believe it myself, he said. They left the woods and started up the road toward their house. As they walked past all the houses on their street, the trip to Dinosaur Time did seem more and more like a dream. Only this world and this time seemed real. He felt the engraving of the letter M. It made Jack's fingers tingle. Jack laughed. Suddenly he felt happy. He couldn't explain what had happened today, but he knew for sure that their trip in the magic treehouse had been real. Absolutely real. Tomorrow, said Jack softly, we'll go back to the woods. Of course, said Annie. And we'll climb up to the treehouse, said Jack. Of course, said Annie. And we'll see what happens next, said Jack. Of course, said Annie. Race you! And they took off together, running for home. Okay, so the next book is called The Night at Dawn. So we'll get started reading this book and maybe we'll finish it tomorrow, actually on Wednesday. Wednesday, we're going to be moving to a new time though. We're going to be moving to 12 o'clock. So see you then. Chapter 1, The Dark Woods. Jack couldn't sleep. He put his glasses on. He looked at the clock. 5:30. Too early to get up. Yesterday, so many strange things had happened. Now he was trying to figure them out. He turned on the light. He picked up his notebook. He looked at the list he'd made before going to bed. Found treehouse and woods. Found lots of books in it. Pointed to a pteranodon picture in the book. Made a wish. Went to Time of Dinosaurs. Pointed to picture of Frog Creek Woods. Made a wish. Came home to Frog Creek. Jack pushed his glasses into place. Who was going to believe any of this? Not his mom, or his dad, or his third-grade teacher, Miss Watkins. Only his 7-year-old sister, Annie. She'd gone with him to the time of the dinosaurs. Can't you sleep? It was Annie standing in his doorway. Nope, said Jack. Me neither, said Annie. What are you doing? She walked over to Jack and looked at his notebook. She read the list. Aren't you going to write about the gold medal? She asked. You mean the gold medallion, said Jack. He picked up his pencil and wrote, found this in dinosaur time. Aren't you going to put the letter M on the medal? Said Annie. Medallion, said Jack, not medal. He added an M. Aren't you going to write about the magic person? Said Annie. We don't know for sure if there's a magic person, said Jack. Well, someone built the tree house in the woods. Someone put the books in it. Someone lost a gold medal in dinosaur time. Medallion, cried Jack for the third time. "And I'm just writing the facts, the stuff we know for sure." "Let's go back to the treehouse now," said Annie, "and find out if the magic person is a fact." "Are you nuts?" said Jack. "The sun's not even up yet." "Come on," said Annie. "Maybe we can catch them sleeping." "I don't think we should," said Jack. He was worried. What if the magic person was mean? What if he or she didn't want kids to know about the treehouse? "Well, I'm going," said Annie. Jack looked out his window at the dark gray sky. It was almost dawn. He sighed. "Okay, let's get dressed. I'll meet you at the back door. Be quiet." "Yay!" whispered Annie. She tiptoed away as quietly as a mouse. Jack put on jeans, a warm sweatshirt, and sneakers. He tossed his notebook and pencil in his backpack. He crept downstairs. Annie was waiting by the back door. She shined a flashlight in Jack's face. "Ta-da! A magic wand," she said. "Shh! Don't wake up Mom and Dad," whispered Jack, "and turn that flashlight off. We don't want anyone to see us." Annie nodded and turned it off. Then she clipped it onto her belt. They slipped out the door into the cool early morning air. Crickets were chirping. The dog next door barked, "Woof, woof, woof." "Quiet, Henry," whispered Annie. Henry stopped barking. Animals always seemed to do what Annie said. "Let's run," said Jack. They dashed across the dark, wet lawn and didn't stop until they reached the woods. "We need the flashlight now," said Jack. Annie took it off her belt and switched it on. Step by step, she and Jack walked between the trees. Jack held his breath. Dark woods were scary. "Gotcha," said Annie, shining the flashlight in Jack's face. Jack jumped back. Then he frowned. "Cut it out," he said. "I scared you," said Annie. Jack glared at her. "Stop pretending," he whispered. "This is serious." Okay. Annie shined her flashlight over the tops of the trees. "Now what are you doing?" said Jack. "Looking for the treehouse." The light stopped moving. There it was, the mysterious treehouse at the top of the tallest tree in the woods. Annie shined her light at the treehouse and then down the tall ladder all the way to the ground. "I'm going up," she said. She gripped the flashlight and began to climb. "Wait!" Jack called. What if someone was in the treehouse? "Annie, come back!" But she was gone. The light disappeared. Jack was alone in the dark. Chapter 2, Leaving Again. "No one's here," Annie shouted down. Jack thought about going home. Then he thought about all the books in the treehouse. Started up the ladder. He was nearly to the treehouse. He saw light in the distant sky. Dawn was starting to break. He crawled through a hole in the floor and took off his backpack. It was dark inside the treehouse. Annie was shining her flashlight on the books scattered about. "They're still here," she said. She stopped the light on a dinosaur book. It was a book that had taken them to the time of the dinosaurs. "Remember the Tyrannosaurus?" asked Annie. Jack shuddered. Oh, of course he remembered. How could anyone forget seeing a real live Tyrannosaurus Rex? The light fell on a book about Pennsylvania. A red silk bookmark stuck out of it. Remember the picture of Frog Creek? Said Annie. Of course, said Jack. That was the picture that had brought them home. There's my favorite, said Annie. The light was shining on a book about knights and castles. There was a blue leather bookmark in it. Annie turned to the page with the bookmark. There was a picture of a knight on a black horse. He was riding toward a castle. Annie, close that book, said Jack. I know what you're thinking. Annie pointed at the knight. Don't, Annie! We wish we could see this guy for real, Annie said. No, we don't, shouted Jack. They heard a strange sound. Eee! It sounded like a horse neighing. They both went to the window. Annie shined the flashlight down on the ground. Oh no, whispered Jack. A knight, said Annie. A knight in shining armor, riding a black horse through the Frog Creek woods. Then the wind began to moan. The trees began to rumble. It was happening again. We're leaving, cried Annie. Get down. The wind moaned louder. The leaves shook harder. And the treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. Jack squeezed his eyes shut. Then everything was still. Jack opened his eyes. He shivered. The air was damp and cool. The sound of a horse's whinny came again from below. I think we're here, whispered Annie. She was still holding the castle book. Jack peeked out the window. A huge castle loomed out of the fog. He looked around. The treehouse was in a different oak tree, and down below, the knight on the black horse was riding by. We can't stay here, said Jack. We have to go home and make a plan first. He picked up the book about Pennsylvania. He opened it to the page with the red silk bookmark. He pointed to the photograph of the Frog Creek's woods. I wish, no, said Annie. She yanked the book from him. Worse, let's stay. I want to visit the castle. You're nuts. We have to examine the situation, said Jack. From home. Let's examine it here, said Annie. Come on, he held out his hand. Give it. Annie gave Jack the book. Okay, we can go home. You can go home. I'm staying, she said. She clipped the flashlight to her belt. So, what do you think is going to happen next? Do you think that Jack is going to go with her, or is he going to stay? What are they going to do? What do you think is going to happen? So we will pick this story up and we will return at 12 o'clock on Wednesday. So it's awfully exciting. Is Annie going to get her way? Or are they going to go back home like Jack wants to? And what would you do if you were in a magic tree house and you saw down below you a black knight running by in a huge castle? Would you go down and explore, or would you go back to your home where it's safe and then figure out what to do from there? This is Bonnie Belda from Panic Public Library, hoping that you have a healthy and happy day. Goodbye.